The Daily Signal is coming to you live from the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. We're joined now by Congressman Eli Crane of Arizona. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
You are a leader among conservatives in the House of Representatives. You're also somebody who is in a border state, and you've seen firsthand the consequences of the Biden administration's open border policies. What are things like in Arizona right now?
You know, it's the Wild West. It really is. I mean, if you ever go down to the border, I mean, it's unbelievable to see groups in such large sizes moving together and just coming through and, you know, kind of being processed through like, cattle. And I hate to say it so, crassly, but at the end of the day, that's what it looks like down there. And trash everywhere. You'll see a lot of the desert out there, chopped down as, individuals, who are waiting around want to, start a fire. I mean, it's a complete disaster. And then when you think about everything, all the byproduct of it from, all the, young American girls who are being raped and murdered, families being destroyed, the fentanyl deaths, MS-13 gang members, and even, the massive increase of individuals on the terror watch list coming through that southern border. It's a massive, massive national security disaster, humanitarian disaster, economic disaster. And the saddest thing about it is that it was all, self-inflicted.
Well, let's pick up on that point because so many people look back to that first day of the Biden administration and when he basically wiped away all of the policies that Donald Trump had put in place to secure the border. How much blame do you put on Biden and the progressive Democrats for this problem?
Oh, I put 100% of it on them. And I think that's why people are so excited to, be here right now and watch President Trump, the guy that showed us that you actually can, put in some very common sense solutions in place to not, completely turn the spigot off, but to turn it way, way down. And, I'm on the Homeland Security Committee, and if you look at the data, some of the numbers, one of the ones that's most eye-popping is, I think under the Trump administration, the entire time he was there, it was like 14 individuals on the terror watch list. Now I think we're, over 350, approaching 400. And when you see all the things that are going on in this country, it's a very scary time. I think when you listen to like the director of the FBI say we have more threats on the U.S. homeland than we had in pre 9/11, and for many of us that watch this stuff and follow this stuff closely, I think most of us believe it's not a question of if, but a question of when the next terror attack or series of terror attacks happen on U.S. soil.
Oh, it's absolutely frightening. The other thing that coming from a swing state like you do, we have a situation where I know the House has recently voted on the SAVE Act. You're concerned about illegal aliens potentially voting in U.S. elections. Your state was decided in the presidential election by thousands of votes. How big of a factor could that be?
It's not even potentially. It's happening. It's happened in the past. It's going to happen in the future. And sadly, many of us have been calling this out for years. Many of the guys right across the aisle from us on these other shows have been calling it out for years. I'm sure you guys have as well. But, it's like it was so obvious that this is one of the big reasons that Democrats wanted to throw open that wide open southern border, because and give away some free stuff, give some goodies. Here's a cell phone, here's a plane flight or a plane ticket or a bus ticket to wherever you want to go, and we'll put you up in this hotel, and then by the way, here's a voter registration card. Many of us have known for a long time, we've been screaming from the rooftops that this was a part of their big strategy, and they've denied it, they've downplayed it. You guys are conspiracy theories, and what do you know, 2 weeks ago, I can't remember, on the House floor, I think it was every Democrat, but like 5 of them voted against stopping illegal aliens from voting in our elections. It's just unbelievable that it's so out in the open now.
Yeah, just 5. You're right. It was a shocking number to see. You mentioned that you're a member of the Homeland Security Committee. The chairman of your committee, Mark Green, has called out the Secret Service for its failure to protect Donald Trump on Saturday. What do you expect to happen in Congress when you return? What would you like to see happen?
Well, at the very least, I'd like to see, Secretary Mayorkas, Director Wray, and the Director of the Secret Service have to come in and testify before Homeland Security and also oversight as well. I know that both committees want to have them come in and, testify based on what I've seen from this administration and based on, how large of a catastrophe this assassination attempt on President Trump was, I don't believe that many of them will comply, at least openly. And I hope I'm wrong with that, but I do believe that we'll probably have to start dropping subpoenas to make them come do it. And I will tell you, I've been having conversations with folks that have intimate knowledge of what went on on Saturday. And the more I learn about this, the more fishy and shady it appears to be. And so I think that over the next days, weeks, and months, and maybe even years, we're going to continue to learn more and more about not only what a catastrophic failure this was, but that the reporting that we have right now isn't, exactly painting the entire picture.
I think the American people know from past episodes, the JFK assassination, that they may never get the truth. Are you hopeful that things may be different this time around, or are they still going to be treated to that same kind of behavior as these three-letter acronym agencies tend to operate on?
I'm hopeful, but I'm not optimistic.
Okay.
I've only been in Congress for a little over a year and a half, but I've been there long enough to, know how disappointing it is in Washington, D.C., how most of our most powerful leaders, how little they think of the American people, and how, quite frankly, they want to keep many of the American people in the dark.
You mentioned when one of the first things you did when you came to Congress was team together with some other conservatives and demand some changes to the way that the House of Representatives operates. Yeah. We're starting to see some changes. For instance, on the House side, you're passing appropriations bills through a regular order process. Now, you do have a Democrat Senate that doesn't seem like it's necessarily going to go along with the same way. What are some of the things that you think Republicans in the House need to do in the months to come as you face this government spending deadline?
Yeah, I'm a big fan of keeping your foot on the gas, continuing to apply pressure. Unfortunately, what I can tell you is, that's not the environment that we're in right now. Most people are, myself included, one of the bad things about Congress, as you know, the House of Representatives, is that we run every 2 years. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a great thing for the American public because you guys can fire us, every 2 years if we're not doing a great job. But one of the downsides of it is that, a lot more time than I think, many of the American people would want, we're actually trying to get reelected. And so a lot of people are, focused on getting reelected right now. A lot of people are focused on getting this gentleman, the former president, reelected. I don't suspect that you're going to see any major changes. Everybody's actually cautious. It's risk mitigation time up there. I think it's an error just based on where we are in our trajectory, but I've been pretty disappointed with the lack of aggression and the lack of, I think, situational awareness to how bad things really are. And yeah, unfortunately, there's not a lot up there that I believe feel the same way.
Do you have optimism, though, that a President Trump and a Vice President Vance might be able to shift the dynamic on Capitol Hill, particularly when it comes to some issues that we've been talking about and others we haven't, like the Ukraine-Russia war and
100%.
Okay.
100%. And, it's one of the reasons I'm excited about being here because we've seen, when I just look back at what President Trump did under, for 4 years when he had it seemed like, the entire Democratic Party was against him. The entire media was against him. It seemed like at least half of his own party was against him. A lot of the globalists around the world were against him. I mean, he did pretty damn good for, having that much opposition and people in his own administration trying to take his knees out every other day. And so I'm optimistic when I see him make a pick like J.D. Vance. And, with some of the people that I think he's going to surround himself with and the knowledge that he has now, I'm optimistic that, and knowing that this is his last hurrah, he's not going to get another, term after this, that, he's going to be aggressive and he's going to put, some good people in good spots and, let him off the leash to go do what the American people need us to do.
Well, Congressman Crane, we appreciate you being a bold leader in the House of Representatives. We'll keep track of your work at the Daily Signal and appreciate you spending some time with us tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it.
Thank you. This is Rob Bluey reporting for the Daily Signal. We'll be back with more interviews tomorrow, the final day of the Republican National Convention here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon.